Is this right? What did I do here? What did I do? There we are. Yeah. No. I was right. I was right. Why isn't it going? I had it before. I found it and it was so good.
If you go back through the pages, the arrow in the upper left-hand corner of your browser, be able to go backwards through what you were showing.
There I was. Okay, Orach Chaim, Chelik. Again?
Yeah.
All right. There it is, yeah. Good. Okay, good. Thank you very much. We're now learning the laws of Muktzah. For those of you who remember, we said that in general there's two types of muktzah. There's muktzah that you can move if you want to use the vessel itself, or you need the place, even though that vessel is usually for a forbidden purpose. Like, for instance, a hammer that you usually use to knock in nails and to build things. You can't do that on Shabbos. But because that hammer is a vessel, so even though it's a vessel that's forbidden to for a forbidden purpose, it's called Kli Shemalech Al Iser, it's permissible to move that hammer if you want to use it for something permissible, for instance, to crack nuts with, or to use it as a doorstop or something. Or you just need the place where that hammer is. You want to eat your meal there, you don't want it in the middle of the table, it's disturbing you, then you can move it. We said, but there are some things that don't have a law of a vessel on them at all. For instance, money, flour, like you make bread from, dough. What can you do with it? You can't do anything with it. You can't cook it on Shabbos. You can't eat it. Animals. You're not allowed to touch animals. What can you do with an animal that's permissible on Shabbos? It's not a vessel. That's what we learned the last law. In this category of things that are not vessels at all, and the law of that is that you're not allowed to move it at all for any reason with your hands. You can move with your foot. This also included, and this is also the Machlos Asuras, all forbidden foods, B'hana'ah, in pleasure. For instance, there's not too many things in Judaism that's forbidden even to get any use from, pleasure whatsoever. But there are. And one of the examples is milk and meat. If you cook milk and meat together, so the law is that you cannot eat this, of course. And also, if you cooked it, just cooking is a sin, cooking milk and meat together. Not Shabbos, even the weekday. Not allowed to cook milk and meat together. Just cooking it. Light the fire for a non-Jew. We learned that. But also, milk and meat is unusual. If you boil it together, if it was cooked together, then you can't get pleasure from the mixture. Can't get pleasure. Can't feed it to your dog. Can't sell it to a non-Jew. Can't use it as fertilizer. Cannot get any pleasure from it at all. You made a cheeseburger. You can't tell your next door neighbor to come in and eat. Can't do it. If you're working in whatever is McDonald's and you make a cheeseburger over there, you're not allowed to sell it. You're not allowed to get money for making cheeseburgers. Forbidden in pleasure. Now, what if you have milk and meat that you cooked, let's say, by accident together, and it's on Shabbos, it's in the middle of your table. Somebody brings you a big pizza with cheese and sausages on it. Let's say it's kosher sausages with cheese. Cooked together. Hot. It's forbidden. You can't get any pleasure from it. and he sets it right down in the middle of your table. Can you pick it up and move it? No, can't do it. Meichlas asuras that are forbidden b'hana'a, in pleasure. She'eno yochel achilan, you cannot feed them afilu l'kalavim, even to your dog. V'afilu ein isuram ela medivrei sofrim, even if it's not forbidden from the Torah, like the example I gave you, cooking milk and meat, but it's only forbidden, let's say, from the rabbis, like stam yainim, wine that comes from the non-Jews, but you know they didn't do idolatry with it. It's just wine that has been touched by a non-Jew. This is only forbidden, stam yain is only forbidden from the rabbis. Afilu ein isuran ela bo b'yom. Even if it's forbidden in pleasure, only on Shabbat. Motzi Shabbat is going to be okay. How, for instance, tevel. Tevel is fruits that you did not take truma from. Truma, Meiser Rishon, didn't take truma from. That food cannot be eaten. Sheyochol l'takno, but Motzi Shabbos, on Motzi Shabbos, you can fix it up by taking out the portion that's supposed to go for the priest, the truma and the meiser. Motzi Shabbos, you can fix it up and eat it. But now, if you're in the middle of Shabbos, right, somebody brings into your house, or let's say you had in your house and you forgot to take truma and meiser from your fruits, is that's all called tevel. It's forbidden to fix it up on Shabbos. Why is it forbidden to fix it up? The rabbi said you can't do it, like we'll explain later on. Also, something else, anything like this, it's called muktzah machmas gufo. This is the thing which is called muktzah because of itself. In other words, it itself is unusable because it itself has no use on Shabbos, and it is not a vessel. Also, it is forbidden to carry it, even for gufo, even to use it for something permissible. O makomo, let's say you want to take this, you have a big cheese or something that you cooked it together with meat, and now you want to take this cheese and use it as a doorstop. Too bad, you can't move it. Let's say the cheese is really wrecking up, it's right in the middle of your dinner table, and you want to move it. You cannot move it with your hands. If you want to kick it off with your foot, or you want to move it with the side of your head or something, then you can do. Muktzah is only forbidden, things that are forbidden to move with your hands. That's all these laws of muktzah. Avobad, meichlos asuras, food which is forbidden to eat, but it's permissible to get pleasure from, which that's the majority of forbidden things, right? Pork, rabbit meat, right? Those things you're forbidden to eat, but you can get pleasure from it. It's permissible to get pleasure from it. You can feed it to your dog. You can feed it to your dog. If the food is ready for this, it's prepared for to give them to your dogs. Could go on, for instance, nevelas, treifas. For instance, you have a cow that died on its own, or you shechted a chicken and it didn't come out right? That's called nevela. Nevela, you shechted it improperly. Or treifas, an animal that died on its own, right? Died from a disease. That's treifa. Let's say even more. Technically, what treifa is that you had an animal and you slaughtered it properly. You slaughtered it properly, but you looked and you found that there was something wrong with the lungs or with the stomach or with the heart or with the bones were broken in the wrong places, and etc. So that's called treif. In any case, both nevela and treifa, nevela means that it wasn't killed properly. It died on its own, or it died improperly. And treifa means that it could have been that it was killed properly, but it had some sort of a disease, a hole or something like that. Both of them are exactly the same as far as they're being forbidden to eat. Those things are permissible to carry them like other animal food. Ve'im enon omdim lekalavim machmas isuran mipenei she'ein isuran ela b'Shabbos let's say, for instance, you had some sort of a food that you could give it to the animals, but you won't give it to the animals. Kagon, mashkin shezavo min aperos, me'alein b'Shabbos. For instance, liquid juice that comes from fruits on its own on Shabbat. We'll learn about that if you want to. The law is that if you have a bunch of grapes, you put them into a bowl and you just leave them there. And then you come back after a couple of hours, and you put in there Erev Shabbos. There was no liquid there at all. You came back on Shabbos, oh look, the grapes themselves burst, and now there is juice in this bowl. Isn't that nice? Maybe it's nice as far as science goes, but it's not nice as far as Shabbos goes, because that liquid that came out is muktzah. Mashkin shezavo, because of it, nevertheless, kol of nolad, the juice that comes out is muktzah on Shabbos. But motzi Shabbos, immediately it's permissible. Now, what if you have a whole bottle of this grape juice that came out from grapes on Shabbos? And this bottle happens to be sitting in the middle of your table. And you're worried somebody's going to take it and drink it. It's forbidden to drink on Shabbos. You can't. Or somebody's going to knock it over. You want to use it, Motzi Shabbos. Are you allowed to move it? It says, well, it's you could give it to, you could carry it because you could give it to an animal to drink. He says, no, you're not going to give this to an animal to drink. You want to drink it yourself. Motzi Shabbos. Motzi Shabbos is permissible. Just on Shabbos is forbidden. If so, on Shabbos is forbidden to drink, bo b'yom bilvad, only on Shabbat itself. And also the same law as an egg, shenoldu b'Shabbat, an egg that was born on Shabbat, nolad. That's how the Gemara in Beitzah starts off. That it's forbidden to eat on Shabbat alone. And also milk, that you milked a cow or a goat or whatever on Shabbat, that the milk is forbidden on Shabbat for you to drink. And anything that's similar to that, that on Shabbat it is totally forbidden. It's not a vessel, it's food, but it's food that's forbidden. So you can't eat it. It's not called food. Therefore, food, by the way, is the least. Food and books are the least level of muksa. There's no muksa at all. You can touch them for no reason, move them for no reason with your hands. But that's only if the food is edible. But if the food is not edible, not even for the dogs, because you wouldn't give this to the dogs, then if it's in the middle of your table, that you could give it to the dogs, it's edible, but you're not going to do it. You don't want this juice, this grape juice that came out on Shabbos to give to the dogs. You want to eat it yourself. You could give it to them. You want for yourself to eat it on Motzi Shabbos. Well, in such a case, you cannot move this bottle of grape juice, even for its gufo, even for its body. In other words, you want to use this bottle, let's say, as a doorstop, or you want to put it on top of papers that they don't scatter around, which is permissible, or makomo, or you need the place. It's wrecking up your whole meal. It's right in the middle of the table. Can you move it? No. Why? Because it is total muktzah. And let's stop. Let's see, what's the next law? Let me just see what the next law is. Yeah, okay. But a thing that is forbidden to eat is in the weekday also, even though that it can be permitted after a while. For instance, chadash. Chadash is new grains that you took before they brought the Omer, before Pesach. New grains. It's permissible to carry it even in the land of Israel. There are chadashes from the Torah. Because, let's say, for instance, you have grain that's a month before Pesach. So that's called chadash. You're not allowed to eat it. So, Hari, if it's from that harvest, Hari, hu omed gam betoch hazman lachila. Therefore, this is a type of a thing which you would give it to your animals. It's just forbidden for you to eat it, or to sell it to a non-Jew. Those type of things would be permissible. Let's see what the next page says. These things are permissible to eat, and therefore they are not considered to be muktzah. Let me see what this is. Yes, that's right. All right, let's do a little bit of the laws of the Rambam. I thought we would do a little bit more.